miles to get here and my legs are killing me. They are, I'm riddled with arthritis. But I tell you this, shut that door. Drafty is wicked.
Welcome to Tales Beyond the Grave and welcome back to another video. And we're over in Nuneaton where the lovely Sharon has fetched us over to Nuneaton, and we're going to show you a bit round the cemetery, but we're here to find the grave of a very famous entertainer. So if I give you the name of William Sully White, would you know what I mean? Possibly not. If I give you the name of Billy Breen, would you know what I mean? I wouldn't either. But if I give you the name of Larry Grayson, a big smile will come on your face, because Larry Grayson is buried just over here. I'm going to take you to the grave of Larry Grayson, a great entertainer was Larry, and we'll take you over to show you a bit around the cemetery, and then we'll take you over to his grave. See you over there. So Larry, he was born on the 21st of August 1923 under his real name of William Sully White. His parents were unmarried and he never knew his father, and when he was 10 days old, his mother Ethel White arranged for him to be fostered by Alice and Jim Hammond in Nuneaton. That's why we're in Nuneaton now. And his two foster sisters were Flo and Mary. His foster mother Alice died when he was 6 years old, and he was brought up by elder sister Flo, and when he lived with Flo for most of his life. His birth mother stayed in touch and was known as Auntie Ethel until he discovered her true identity when he was 8 years old. So he left school at the age of 14 and began working professionally as a supporting drag act on the comedy circuit. He initially used his stage name Billy Breen back then, but changed it in 1950 on the advice of his agent to Larry Grayson. That's where his stage name come from. Now over the next 30 years he toured the UK working men's clubs, and his style of comedy based around his imaginary friends. Who remembers his imaginary friends? Everard, remember Everard? Apricot Lil, Slack Alice, Sterilised Stan the milkman, Pop-It-In Pete the postman, and then was his, and them were his imaginary friends, but he based his comedy around that, and you're led to believe that they were real. I remember watching him as a kid, and these friends he mentioned, it was like you knew him, and that's how good his comedy act was, for you to convince that these imaginary friends are real. And you might remember his catchphrase, "Shut that door." Now that actually happened. So what he did was he was working at the New Pavilion Theatre in Redcar, and he used the phrase for the first time, "Shut that door," and it was based on the theatre where he was working. Somebody had left the stage door open, and the wind was blowing right off the North Sea, right across the stage, and he actually said to the stagehands, "Shut that door." So he actually made that. He didn't make that up, "Shut that door." So it just shows you that was in his comedy act. He put that into his comedy act. It was one of his famous sayings, really. Now in the 1970s, his club act was seen by Michael Grade, who was then an agent for the BBC, and he seen him appear on TV, and he thought, he's a top entertainer, he's going to be a good entertainer, and he was given a contract to front a show called "Shut That Door," and which later became the Larry Grayson Show, as you know, very popular at the time, the Larry Grayson Show. And his imaginary friends were all always in his act as well. Now his popularity peaked when he was hired by the BBC to host the Generation Game, to take over from Bruce Forsyth. Who could possibly take over from Bruce Forsyth, another great entertainer? Well, Lou Grade, I think it was, who said Larry Grayson, and what a job he did. He made it his own. The Generation Game was at its peak, was seen by over 25 million people on a Saturday night. It was that popular, and what a great show that was. I've got fond memories of that. Some of the things he done, again, he had Isla Sinclair with him as well, Scores on the Doors, Isla. But yeah, the Generation Game was fantastic. It was well worth watching, and it was entertainment. That was your big entertainment on Saturday night. Around about by the time in 1981, the Generation Game was still popular, but being overtaken in the ratings by Game for a Laugh. And Larry decided to leave the show in 1982. And he sort of like went into semi-retirement, really. Enjoying his time on his own in Nuneaton with his pet dogs. He had a love of pet dogs who he had to get home to every night. There was when he used to be out entertaining somewhere, he had a driver who would always take him home. He insisted that he'd be taken home no matter where he was performing in the country, to his pet dogs. He loved his pet dogs. And Larry moved in with Flo, his adopted sister, and they moved to Torquay to get the son at Torquay, and sort of like semi-retirement as well. Occasional show on TV, chat show, especially like Russell Harty's show and Michael Parkinson. He was seen on that a few times. But he missed Nuneaton. He said he missed his family and friends over in Nuneaton, and he moved back to Nuneaton after a couple of years of being in Torquay. So yeah, he missed his family and friends, and he moved back to Nuneaton with Flo. And what he did was his final TV appearance. The last time he saw Larry on TV was at the Royal Variety performance on the 3rd of December 1994, and he told the audience, "I bet you thought I was dead." And again, he went down absolutely. The crowd loved Larry. Everyone did. His entertainment, it's just his wit, really, and his humour. And again, he'd throw in his imaginary friends, especially Everard and Apricot Lil. So that was his last TV performance on the Royal Variety performance. And I'm gonna take you down to his grave now, but I'm just going to tell you a bit of how Larry passed, and show you where his grave is. And his grave is not this big star's grave or a big monument. It's just a humble family grave, and I'm going to take you to that now. So on New Year's Eve in 1994, Larry got rushed into hospital suffering from a perforated appendix. And after being allowed home from hospital, Larry died on the 7th of January 1995 in Nuneaton, aged 71. He's buried alongside other members of his family, and it come to a standstill in Nuneaton. The thousands turned out to see the funeral of Larry Grayson, and they lined the roads, and like I say, it stopped traffic just to give Larry a final send-off. And his grave is just over here now. I'm going to take you to it. So yeah, the grave of Larry Grayson, just over it. And like I say, there's nothing monumental about it. There's nothing I'm a big star about it. It's just a normal family little grave over on the side here, just over to my left there, and I'll take you to it now. So we're going to take you over now to Larry's grave. As you can see, it's just this one here, and it's not what you think it would be, where you think this big monumental grave. It's just a family plot with all his loved ones on it. I'll take you now, and this is the grave and the final resting place of Larry Grayson. And as you can see, it's just a family plot with Alice and Jim Hammond, who was his stepmother and father, Ethel White, his biological mother, Mary Roberts, William S. White, in brackets Larry Grayson, and Florence, his sister, who looked after him, and he lived with for most of his life, or all of his life really, and she was known as Flo to him. And as you can see at the bottom there's a plaque saying, "Shut that door," his famous catchphrase. It's the final resting place of the fantastic entertainer, much loved by everyone really, Larry Grayson. And all that's left to say really is thanks for the memories, Larry, thanks for the laughs. The amount of times I laughed over watching a Generation Game with you, it sticks in my memory. You're one of the the greatest entertainers what ever lived, and we thank you for the memories. As you can see, I'm home now, but I've got to put this bit on at the end. I call it an outro at the end. I usually do it at the cemetery where I am, but I'm gonna say thanks for watching the video on Larry. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe if you'd like to. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video, or let me know if you didn't like the video. But I'm going to leave a little tribute now at the end to Larry Grayson from me, really, just to say thank you very much for all the entertainment you give us during the 70s and the 80s. So hope you've enjoyed the video. Just off to make the next video. I don't know where I'm going yet, but I'll see you when I get there. So thanks for watching. Bye.
I know a girl, Slack Alice. She's been around for years. Rosebud lips and 40 hips. That gives you some idea. She lives at Crystal Palace. She bottles pickles there. She really knows her onions. A girl beyond compare. Slack Alice. She's the one who lost her drawers at Crystal Palace. She loves football, always takes a rattle. She's so sporty, she could tell the referee was being naughty, and he only had half a pin in his whistle. She said that referee's unfair, and threw her knickers in the air. Well, that's Alice, Slack Alice. She's a raver. The Salvation Army tried, but couldn't save her, and they don't give up easily, you know. Dropped her banner, and was acting in a most peculiar manner. I don't know what she was trying to do with a big drum. She was shouting, do or die, when they muffled her war cry. Poor old Alice, Slack Alice, she's going steady. And after 40 years, I think she's ready. She must be 90 inches a day. Found a lover, a coalman by the name of Charlie Glover, and he's no oil painting. When things are looking black, he still gets his nutty slack. Good old Alice, Slack Alice, there'll be a wedding. And that's a day that I, for one, am dreading. I can see her now, white face, black neck. She looks shocking, but she tries to squeeze into that body stocking. She's a very big girl, and she'll wear her big red hat. And you know what they say about that? Well, that's Alice, Slack Alice. Well, he'll know he's got her, I can tell you that. Oh, she does sweat, but still there you are.